There's a particular kind of panic that comes not from danger, but from the sudden realization that you've made a choice you can't undo. Maya knew that feeling intimately as she stood frozen in the dim light of an unfamiliar penthouse, her dress from last night clutched against her chest, watching the door she'd been trying to silently open. If this story resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Comment where you're watching from, and if you feel it was worth your time, consider becoming a member for early access to upcoming stories. Your support means everything. The morning light was cruel. It filtered through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating every expensive surface in the penthouse, every piece of furniture that cost more than Maya made in a month, every reminder that she didn't belong here. She'd woken up 20 minutes ago in sheets that felt like liquid silk, in a bed so large she'd had to actually search for the edge, next to a man who had no business being in her life, except he wasn't next to her anymore. The bed was empty, and Maya had seen her chance. She'd gathered her things as quietly as possible, her heart hammering so loud she was sure it would wake him wherever he was. Her shoes dangled from her fingers. Her clutch was tucked under her arm. She'd made it all the way to the front door, had even managed to unlock the first deadbolt without a sound. One more lock, just one more, and she'd be free. Free to pretend last night never happened. Free to go back to her normal, safe, predictable life. Free to forget the way his hands had felt, the way he'd looked at her like she was the only person in the world, the way he'd whispered her name like a prayer. She reached for the final lock. Leaving without saying goodbye? Maya's hand froze. Her entire body went rigid. She didn't turn around, couldn't turn around, because turning around would make this real, would make him real, would make what she was doing, sneaking out like a thief, undeniable. "I didn't want to wake you," she said to the door, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm a light sleeper." His voice was closer now, close enough that she could feel the warmth of him behind her, though he wasn't touching her. Yet. You should have tried harder to be quiet then. Maya. The way he said her name made her knees weak. It was the same way he'd said it last night, 12 times, 24, each time like he was discovering something precious. She forced herself to turn around. Mistake. He was leaning against the wall that separated the entryway from the living room, arms crossed over his bare chest, wearing nothing but black pajama pants that hung low on his hips. His dark hair was messy from sleep, from her fingers running through it hours ago. His eyes, those impossibly dark eyes that had seen right through every defense she'd built, were fixed on her with an intensity that made her want to both run and stay. Dominic Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, 32 years old. Forbes' youngest self-made billionaire, the man whose picture was in business magazines, whose name made investors salivate and competitors nervous. The man she'd met exactly 12 hours ago at a charity gala she'd only attended because her best friend had begged her to. The man she'd somehow ended up in bed with, despite every rule she'd ever made for herself. "I have work," Maya said, hating how weak her voice sounded. "It's Saturday. I have weekend work." "Try again." She swallowed hard. "I have things to do." "Things more important than this conversation?" "I don't think we need a conversation. Last night was," she searched for the right word, "amazing. Life-changing. The best night of her entire 28 years. A mistake." Something flickered across his face. Not hurt, exactly. Something darker. More dangerous. "A mistake." "Yes." "You seemed pretty certain last night that it wasn't a mistake." Heat flooded her cheeks. "Last night I'd had champagne. You had 2 glasses over 4 hours. You were completely sober when you kissed me first. When you asked me to bring you here. When you—" "Stop!" Maya held up her hand. "Please stop." Dominic pushed off from the wall, taking a single step toward her. Just one, but it was enough to make her back press against the door. Why are you running? I'm not running. I'm leaving. There's a difference. Is there? He took another step. Because it looks like running to me. It looks like you're scared. I'm not scared of you. I didn't say you were scared of me. The implication hung in the air between them. Maya lifted her chin, trying to find some semblance of dignity while standing there in last night's cocktail dress with her shoes in her hand. This was one night. That's all it was supposed to be. Supposed to be according to whom? According to logic, according to reality, according to the fact that you're you and I'm me. And what exactly am I? You know what you are. You're Dominic Chen. You're worth billions. You run an empire. You date supermodels and actresses. You're on magazine covers. And what are you? The question shouldn't have hurt, but it did. Because Maya knew exactly what she was. She was ordinary. She was a graphic designer at a mid-sized marketing firm. She lived in a studio apartment in Queens. She took the subway. She bought her clothes from regular stores with regular sales. She was nobody. I'm someone who doesn't belong in your world, Maya said quietly, and someone smart enough to know that whatever happened last night ends this morning. Dominic moved closer, close enough now that she could smell his cologne, faint and expensive and intoxicating. Close enough to see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, close enough to remember exactly how it felt when he'd held her. What if I don't want it to end? Maya's breath caught. You don't mean that. Don't tell me what I mean. You don't even know me. I know enough. You know my name. You know I work in marketing. You know I can't afford to bid on charity auction items. That's not knowing someone. I know you prefer whiskey to champagne, but you drink champagne at events because you think it's more appropriate. I know you have a scar on your left shoulder blade from a childhood accident you still won't talk about. I know you hum when you're nervous. I know you're left-handed, but you learned to use your right hand for certain things because a teacher told you it was proper. I know you're scared of heights, but you stood on my balcony last night because I asked you to trust me. Maya stared at him. How do you? Because I paid attention. Because every word you said, every movement you made, every expression that crossed your face, I noticed. Because from the moment I saw you trying to hide in the corner of that gala, looking like you'd rather be anywhere else, I couldn't look away. Her heart was pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. That doesn't change anything. It changes everything. Dominic. She tried to make her voice firm, tried to sound certain. This is crazy. We had one night. One perfect, impossible night. But that's all it can be. Why? Because. She gestured helplessly between them. Because look at us. Look at this place. Look at your life. I don't fit here. You fitted perfectly last night. The heat in his voice made her stomach flip. Last night was different. Last night was like a dream. But dreams end. They have to end. What if I don't want to wake up? Maya closed her eyes, trying to block out the sight of him standing there, looking at her, like she was something rare and precious, trying to ignore the part of her that wanted desperately to believe this could be real, could be more than one stolen night. You're not thinking clearly, she said. You're caught up in the moment. In a few days, you'll realize this is insane. You'll meet someone more appropriate, someone who actually belongs in your world, and you'll be grateful I left when I did. Let me ask you something. His voice dropped lower, more intimate. Are you running because you genuinely don't want this, or because you're terrified that you do? The question hit too close to the truth. Maya's fingers tightened on her shoes. It doesn't matter what I want. It's the only thing that matters. No. What matters is reality. And the reality is that people like you don't end up with people like me. Not in real life. Maybe in movies, maybe in books, but not in the actual world. Dominic was quiet for a long moment, studying her with those intense eyes that seemed to see everything she was trying to hide. Then he did something unexpected. He stepped back, giving her space. "Okay." Maya blinked. "Okay? If you want to leave, leave. I'm not going to force you to stay. I'm not going to manipulate you or pressure you." Relief and disappointment flooded through her in equal measure. "Thank you. But I want you to answer one question first. Honestly." Maya hesitated, then nodded. "When you think about walking out that door, getting in the elevator, going back to your apartment, going back to your life like nothing happened, how does that make you feel?" She opened her mouth to say fine, to say relieved, to say anything that would get her out of this conversation and out of this penthouse and away from this man who made her want impossible things. But the lie wouldn't come, because the truth was, the thought of leaving made her chest ache, made her feel like she was about to make the worst mistake of her life, made her want to cry for reasons she couldn't fully explain. "Scared," she whispered. "I feel scared." "Of staying or leaving?" "Both." Dominic's expression softened. "Maya, I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm not asking you to move in or change your life or make any grand declarations. I'm asking you to stay for breakfast. That's all. Just breakfast." It should have been an easy decision. Breakfast was nothing. Breakfast was safe. Breakfast was just food and conversation and an hour of time. Except they both knew it wasn't just breakfast. It was a choice to not run, a choice to see what this could be, a choice that terrified her more than anything had in years. "I don't have a change of clothes," she said weakly. The corner of his mouth lifted. "I have a washing machine, and I'm pretty sure one of my shirts would fit you." "I'm a mess. You're beautiful." "Dominic." "Breakfast, Maya. Just say yes to breakfast." She looked at the door behind her, her escape route, her way back to safety, to normalcy, to a life that made sense. Then she looked at him, at this impossible man with his impossible offer, and his eyes that looked at her like she mattered, like she was worth fighting for, like she was someone special. "Just breakfast," she said. It wasn't quite a question, but it wasn't quite a statement either. "Just breakfast," he confirmed. And then you can decide. Stay or go. Whatever you choose, I'll respect it." Maya took a deep breath, set down her shoes, dropped her clutch on the entry table. "I like my eggs scrambled." The smile that broke across Dominic's face was devastating. "I make excellent scrambled eggs." "Somehow, I doubt the CEO of Chen Industries does much cooking. You'd be surprised what I'm good at." The implication in his tone made her blush, which made him smile wider. "Come on," he said, holding out his hand. "Let me feed you." Maya stared at his outstretched hand. This was the moment, the real moment of choice. She could still change her mind, could still grab her things and run, could still protect herself from whatever this was, whatever it might become. But instead, she found herself reaching out, found her hand slipping into his, found herself following him deeper into the penthouse, further from the door, further from escape. His hand was warm, his grip gentle but secure, like he was afraid she might disappear if he held too tight, but also like he had no intention of letting her slip away. The kitchen was ridiculous. All marble and stainless steel and appliances that probably cost more than her car. Windows overlooking Central Park. An island bigger than her entire kitchen area. Everything gleaming and perfect and intimidating. Dominic released her hand, only to guide her to one of the high stools at the island. "Sit. Coffee?" "Please." Black. A woman after my own heart. He moved around the kitchen with surprising ease, pulling out a French press, grinding beans, setting water to boil. His movements were efficient, practiced, not what she'd expected. "You really do cook," Maya observed. My mother insisted all her children learn. Said she didn't raise helpless sons who would starve the moment they left home. It was the first personal thing he'd shared. Maya found herself curious, wanting more. How many siblings do you have? 2 brothers, one older, one younger. Both successful in their own right, both absolutely insufferable. There was affection in his voice despite the words. What do they do? Ethan runs the tech division. Marcus is a trauma surgeon at Presbyterian. Impressive family. Demanding family, Dominic corrected, pouring hot water over the coffee grounds. My parents immigrated from Taiwan with nothing. Built everything from scratch. They expected the same drive from us. Did you always want to go into business? I wanted to build things, make things better. Business was just the vehicle. He glanced at her while the coffee steeped. What about you? Did you always want to be a designer? Maya hesitated. She wasn't used to people asking about her, genuinely asking, like they actually cared about the answer. I wanted to be an artist, a painter. But art doesn't pay bills, so I learned design. It's close enough. Close enough isn't the same as what you wanted. Most people don't get what they want. Maybe most people don't fight hard enough for it. The words should have sounded harsh, but coming from him, they were just honest. Maya watched as he pressed the coffee, poured it into 2 simple white mugs. Not fancy china or designer cups, just regular mugs that looked oddly out of place in this palace of a kitchen. He slid one across the island to her. Their fingers brushed as she took it. Neither of them pulled away immediately. Thank you, Maya said quietly. For the coffee or for not letting you run? I haven't decided yet. Dominic smiled and moved to the refrigerator, pulling out eggs, butter, chives. You said scrambled. Any other preferences? Surprise me. Dangerous words. He cracked eggs into a bowl with one-handed precision. I'm starting to think I like danger. The words surprised her as much as they seemed to please him. Where was this coming from? This boldness? Last night she could blame on champagne and dim lighting and the surreal atmosphere of the gala. But now, in the bright morning light, completely sober, she was still here, still flirting, still wanting. Tell me about the painting, Dominic said as he whisked the eggs. What kind of art did you want to create? Why do you want to know? Because I want to know you. All of you. Not just the version you show at charity galas. Maya wrapped her hands around the warm mug. I wanted to paint people. Portraits. But not the formal kind. Not posed. I wanted to capture people in moments when they didn't know they were being watched. When they were just being themselves. That's beautiful. That's impractical. You can't make a living painting strangers in coffee shops. Maybe not, but you could make art. There was something in his tone, something that made her look up sharply. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that my company has an entire floor dedicated to marketing and design. I'm thinking that we have blank walls that could use original art. I'm thinking that I might know someone who could help with both. Maya set down her coffee mug with a hard click. No. No. I'm not sleeping with you for job opportunities. That's not who I am. I know that's not who you are. That's not what I'm suggesting. Then what are you suggesting? Dominic stopped whisking and looked directly at her. I'm suggesting that you're talented, and talent should be recognized. I'm suggesting that my company has needs that align with your skills. I'm suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the universe put you in my path last night for more than one reason. The universe? Maya couldn't keep the skepticism from her voice. You don't believe in fate? I believe in hard work and consequences and reality. What about magic? Magic isn't real, isn't it? He poured the eggs into a heated pan, added butter, began to stir slowly. Then explain last night. Explain how I ended up talking to you for 4 hours without noticing the time. Explain how I knew exactly what you were thinking just by watching your face. Explain how it felt to touch you. Heat flooded through Maya at the memory, his hands on her skin, his mouth on hers, the way he'd made her feel like she was the most desirable woman alive. Chemistry, she said, trying to sound clinical. Pheromones. Basic biology. If it was just chemistry, you wouldn't have panicked this morning. If it was just biology, you wouldn't be scared right now. I'm not scared. Liar. But he said it gently, without accusation. I'm being realistic. This, whatever this is, it can't work. Why not? Because you're you. The words burst out of her, louder than she intended. Because you're Dominic Chen, and you live in a penthouse that costs more than I'll make in my lifetime, and you wear watches that could pay off my student loans, and you date women who look like they walked off magazine covers. Because I'm just Maya Foster, who lives in a fourth-floor walk-up in Queens and buys her coffee at bodegas and hasn't had a real vacation in 3 years. Because in a week or a month or whenever you get bored, you'll move on to someone more exciting, more beautiful, more everything, and I'll be left picking up the pieces of whatever this breaks inside me. The silence that followed was deafening. Maya immediately regretted the outburst, regretted revealing so much, regretted the tears she could feel threatening at the corners of her eyes. Dominic turned off the stove, divided the eggs between 2 plates, added toast that had been warming, brought both plates around the island and set one in front of her. Then, instead of sitting on the stool next to her, he stood directly in front of her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. You want to know what I see when I look at you? His voice was low, intense. I see a woman who walked into a room full of wealthy, powerful people and looked completely unimpressed. I see someone who talked about art and passion and dreams instead of stock portfolios and investment opportunities. I see someone who laughed at my jokes not because of who I am, but because she genuinely found them funny. I see someone who kissed me first, who took what she wanted without apology, who didn't treat me like a prize to be won or a wallet to be accessed. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I see someone real. Do you have any idea how rare that is in my world? Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. I don't care where you live or what you drive or how much your clothes cost, Dominic continued. I care that when I'm with you, I feel like myself. Not Dominic Chen, CEO, not the billionaire, not the face on magazine covers, just Dominic, just a man who met a woman and can't stop thinking about her. You're saying what I want to hear, Maya whispered. I'm saying what's true. How do I know that? You don't. That's what trust is, a leap of faith. Maya looked down at her plate. The eggs looked perfect, fluffy and creamy with fresh chives scattered through them. The toast was golden brown. Everything looked delicious, and she couldn't imagine eating a single bite because her stomach was in knots. I'm terrified, she admitted. Good. So am I. That made her look up. You're terrified? Absolutely. You think I do this? You think I bring women here, cook them breakfast, ask them to stay? Don't you? No. Never. This penthouse is my sanctuary. No one comes here except family. Until you. Something in Maya's chest cracked open. Why me? Because you looked at me and saw me. Because when you touched me, it felt different. Because I've been searching for real in a world full of fake. And then you walked into that gala looking like you'd rather be anywhere else, and I thought, there she is. Maya felt tears spill over despite her best efforts to hold them back. Dominic caught them with his thumbs, cradling her face between his hands. Stay, he said. Not just for breakfast. Stay for the day. Let me show you who I am when I'm not being the CEO. Let me know you when you're not being the woman trying to protect herself. Just stay. And then what? And then we figure it out. Together. one day at a time. It was insane. It was reckless. It was everything Maya had spent her adult life avoiding. She'd been careful for so long. Careful with her heart. Careful with her choices. Careful to never want more than she could safely have. But sitting here in this ridiculous kitchen, with this impossible man, looking at her like she was his entire world, careful suddenly seemed like the saddest word in the English language. "Okay," Maya heard herself say. "Okay?" Hope flared in Dominic's eyes. "Just for today. We'll see how it goes." "Just for today," he agreed, though the smile on his face suggested he was thinking far beyond today. They ate breakfast at the kitchen island, close enough that their knees touched, close enough that every accidental brush of skin felt electric. The eggs were perfect. The coffee was strong. The conversation flowed easily from topic to topic. Nothing too deep, nothing too serious, just two people getting to know each other. Maya learned that Dominic hated mushrooms but loved spicy food, that he'd broken his arm twice as a kid doing stupid daredevil stunts, that he could speak 3 languages but sang terribly in all of them, that his favorite movie was an old kung fu film his father used to watch with him, that he'd once wanted to be an architect before business consumed his life. Dominic learned that Maya was allergic to strawberries, that she'd lived in 7 different cities before turning 12 because her father was in the military, that she couldn't whistle but could do a perfect crow call, that she read poetry but pretended she didn't because people made fun, that she'd once spent an entire paycheck on art supplies and survived on ramen for a month without regret. "Tell me about your family," Dominic said when they'd finished eating, and moved to the living room, sitting on a couch that probably cost more than her car. Maya curled into the corner, tucking her feet under her. Not much to tell. Dad was career Army, retired now. Lives in Florida with his second wife. Mom passed when I was 15. One younger sister, Emily, who's perfect and married and has 2 kids and teaches elementary school. You say perfect like it's a bad thing. It's not bad. It's just she's everything our parents wanted. Stable, safe, married her high school sweetheart, never took risks, never made mistakes. And you're the one who took risks? Maya laughed, but it was hollow. I'm the one who made mistakes. Big ones. The kind that make your father stop speaking to you for 2 years. Dominic was quiet, giving her space to continue or not. Maya surprised herself by continuing. I was engaged once, when I was 24, to a guy named Ryan. He was in finance, worked crazy hours, was always chasing the next deal. I thought I loved him. Thought he loved me, planned a whole wedding. What happened? I found out he'd been cheating, for months, with multiple women. When I confronted him, he said it didn't matter, because he was still going to marry me. Said I should be grateful because he was a good catch. Said I was overreacting. The old anger bubbled up, still fresh after 4 years. So I called off the wedding 3 months before the date. Lost all our deposits. Half our friends took his side. My dad said I was throwing away my chance at stability over ego. We didn't speak for 2 years after that. Dominic's hand found hers, squeezed gently. Your father was wrong. Was he? I'm 28, single, living alone, working a job that's fine but not great. Maybe I should have just accepted that relationships aren't perfect. Maybe I should have. No, Dominic's voice was firm. Don't do that. Don't diminish yourself because someone else couldn't see your worth. You deserved better than a man who cheated and then tried to make you feel grateful for his scraps. You deserved someone who would have worshipped the ground you walked on. Maya looked at their joined hands. You don't even know me. I know enough. And I'm starting to understand why you ran this morning. Why you're so certain this can't work. Because it can't. Because you've been hurt. because someone made you feel like wanting more, like demanding respect and fidelity and real love was asking too much. The accuracy of his words stole her breath. Maybe it is too much. Or maybe you just haven't found someone capable of giving you what you deserve. He shifted closer, his free hand coming up to cup her cheek. Maya, I can't promise you forever. I can't promise this will be easy or perfect. But I can promise you honesty. I can promise you respect. I can promise that if I'm with you, I'm with you. No one else. No games. No lies. Dominic, I know it's fast. I know we just met. I know this is crazy. But I also know that I haven't felt this way about anyone. Ever. And I'm not ready to let it go. Let you go. Not without trying. Maya closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. I'm scared. I know. But maybe being scared means it matters. Maybe it means it's worth fighting for. When she opened her eyes, he was so close. Close enough to kiss. Close enough to lose herself in again. What if I'm not enough? The question came out small, vulnerable. What if you wake up one day and realize you made a mistake? What if I don't? What if you wake up one day and realize you're exactly what I've been looking for? You make it sound so simple. Maybe it is simple. Maybe we're the ones making it complicated. He leaned in, pressed his forehead against hers. Stay with me today. Let me show you simple. Maya's last defenses crumbled. What did you have in mind? The smile that curved his lips was pure mischief. Do you trust me? I don't know yet. Good answer. Come on. Dominic stood, pulling her up with him. He led her to the bedroom, and Maya's heart started racing until he walked straight past the bed to a massive closet. We're going out, he announced, pulling out clothes. I thought you wanted me to stay. I want you to stay with me. There's a difference. But we're not staying in the penthouse all day. That's too much pressure. He tossed her one of his t-shirts, soft and worn. Wear this. I'll have your dress cleaned and delivered to your apartment tomorrow. Where are we going? That's the trust part. Maya caught the shirt, held it to her chest. I don't have any jeans or shoes that make sense with this. There's a boutique on the first floor of this building. We'll stop there. I can't afford boutique prices. Good thing I can. Dominic, no. I'm not letting you buy me clothes. He turned to face her fully, his expression serious. Maya, I'm worth several $1 billion. Buying you a pair of jeans and sneakers isn't going to make a dent. It's not about money. It's about wanting to spend the day with you and wanting you to be comfortable. Let me do this. Please. There was something in the please that got to her, like he was asking for permission, not just to buy her clothes, but to take care of her, to matter. Just jeans and sneakers, she said firmly. Nothing expensive. The boutique only sells expensive things. Then the least expensive things they have. Dominic grinned. Deal. Now go change. I'll give you privacy. He left the closet, closing the door behind him. Maya stood there holding his shirt, overwhelmed by everything. 12 hours ago, she'd been standing in a ballroom trying to avoid small talk. Now she was in a billionaire's closet, wearing his shirt about to let him buy her clothes so they could spend the day together. It was insane. But she was doing it anyway. She changed quickly, the shirt falling to mid-thigh on her smaller frame. It smelled like him, clean and masculine and expensive. When she emerged, Dominic was dressed in jeans and a simple black sweater that somehow made him look even more devastating than the tuxedo last night. Ready? He asked. No. But let's go anyway. The boutique was ridiculous. Even their most casual items cost more than Maya's entire wardrobe. But Dominic was patient, helping her find jeans that fit, sneakers that were comfortable, a soft sweater, because he said where they were going might be cold. He never once made her feel awkward about prices or hesitation. The saleswoman wrapped everything efficiently, and Dominic paid without blinking. 20 minutes later, they were in his car, a sleek black vehicle that probably cost more than some houses, driving out of Manhattan. "Are you going to tell me where we're going?" Maya asked. "Upstate. There's a place I want to show you." Vague and mysterious. Very CEO of you. "Would you prefer I ruin the surprise?" "I'd prefer not to wonder if you're secretly a serial killer." Dominic laughed, real and unguarded. "If I were a serial killer, I'd have much more efficient ways of handling things than driving you upstate." "That's not as reassuring as you think it is." They drove for almost 2 hours, the city giving way to suburbs, giving way to actual countryside. Maya watched the landscape change through the window, trying to reconcile this, sitting in a car with Dominic Chen driving them somewhere mysterious, with her normal life. They didn't fit together, but somehow, here she was anyway. "Tell me something," Dominic said as they exited the highway onto smaller roads. "Something you've never told anyone else." "That's a big ask." "I know. But I want the real you, Maya, not the version you show the world." She thought for a moment. "I'm lonely. Most of the time I'm so lonely it physically hurts. I have friends. I have my sister. I have coworkers I like. But there's this emptiness that never goes away. Like I'm waiting for something, someone, to make me feel whole. And I hate that I feel that way, because I should be enough on my own. I should be complete without needing someone else. But I'm not." The confession hung in the air. Maya immediately regretted it. It was too much, too honest, too raw. "I'm sorry," she started, but Dominic cut her off. "Don't apologize. Thank you for trusting me with that." He reached over, took her hand. "For what it's worth, I understand. I'm surrounded by people all the time. Employees, business partners, investors, family. But I'm almost always alone. Really alone. It's like being in a room full of people who see the persona, but not the person." "Exactly," Maya breathed. "Your turn," she said. "Tell me something real." Dominic was quiet for a long moment. "I'm terrified of becoming my father. He built an incredible company, gave us an amazing life, but he was never present. Never at birthday parties, or school events, or family dinners. Work always came first. Always. And I look at my calendar sometimes, at the endless meetings and obligations, and I see myself following the same path, prioritizing success over life. And I hate it, but I don't know how to stop." "Is that why you don't have someone? Because work comes first?" "Partly. Also because most women who are interested in me aren't interested in me. They're interested in the lifestyle, the access, the money. It's hard to trust anyone's motives. I can imagine. Can you? You trusted me enough to come here last night. That was different. That was—" Maya struggled for the words. "That was me being reckless for once in my life, taking something I wanted without overthinking it. And now you're overthinking it. Extensively." Dominic smiled, but it was soft. "Well, stop. At least for today. Today we're just two people spending time together. No pressure, no expectations. Just us." They pulled onto a dirt road, trees crowding close on both sides. Maya had no idea where they were, somewhere deep in the Hudson Valley based on the signs she'd seen. Finally, they emerged into a clearing, and Maya's breath caught. There was a cabin, not a mansion, not a luxury estate, but an actual cabin. Wood and stone and windows that reflected the afternoon sun. Simple. Beautiful. "This is mine," Dominic said quietly. "Not Chen Industries' property, not an investment. Mine. I bought it 5 years ago when I needed a place where no one could find me. It's beautiful. Come on, there's something I want to show you." Inside, the cabin was warm and rustic. Exposed beams, a stone fireplace, furniture that looked comfortable rather than expensive. It felt like a home, not a showplace. Dominic led her to the back, through sliding glass doors onto a deck, and Maya understood why he'd brought her here. The view was stunning. They were on a hill overlooking a valley, trees in every direction painted in autumn colors. A small lake glittered in the distance. Mountains rose on the horizon. It was so quiet, she could hear birds, wind in the leaves, her own breathing. "I come here when the world gets too loud," Dominic said, standing beside her at the railing. "When I need to remember who I am underneath everything else." "Do you bring people here often?" "Never. You're the first." Maya looked at him sharply. "Why?" "Because this is my real place. My true place. And I only want to share it with someone who matters." The weight of that statement settled over her. "Dominic, You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know. Wanted you to see this part of me." They stood there for a while, side by side, watching the wind move through the trees. Maya felt something shifting inside her, some resistance beginning to crumble. This wasn't the billionaire CEO. This was just Dominic, a man who needed peace and quiet and beauty, a man who understood loneliness, a man who was letting her in. "Thank you," she said finally, "for bringing me here. Thank you for coming." He turned to her. "Are you hungry? There's a town about 10 minutes away. Best pizza you've ever had." "Pizza? Really? What, you think billionaires don't eat pizza?" "I think you probably have personal chefs who make gourmet artisanal wood-fired pizza. Sometimes. But sometimes I want greasy, cheap, delicious pizza from a place that's been run by the same family for 60 years. That actually sounds perfect." They drove to the town, a tiny place with one main street and maybe a dozen businesses. The pizza place was called Antonio's, and it looked exactly like Dominic described. Old, worn, authentic. The owner recognized Dominic immediately, greeting him with a huge hug in rapid Italian. "You didn't tell me you spoke Italian," Maya said as they slid into a booth. "You didn't ask. My mother is second-generation Italian on her mother's side. I spent summers in Rome as a kid." "Of course you did." "Are you mocking me?" "Little bit." But she was smiling. The pizza came, and it was absurdly good. They ate and talked about nothing important. Favorite books and worst jobs and embarrassing childhood stories. Dominic told her about the time he tried to impress a girl in 7th grade by jumping off the school roof and breaking both ankles. Maya told him about accidentally dyeing her hair green the night before prom. It was easy, normal, like they'd known each other for years instead of hours. "I like this," Maya said as they finished their second pizza. "This version of you. As opposed to the intimidating CEO version, the Forbes cover version. That's just a role I play. This is who I actually am." "Which is?" "A guy who likes greasy pizza and bad jokes and spending time with a beautiful woman who makes him feel like himself." Maya felt her cheeks warm. "You're smooth. I'm honest. Same thing sometimes." They drove back to the cabin as the sun was setting, painting the sky in oranges and purples. Dominic built a fire in the fireplace, while Maya explored, looking at the books on his shelves, the photos on his mantle. There was one of him with 2 other men, clearly his brothers based on the resemblance. They were younger, maybe college age, arms around each other, laughing. "That was taken at Ethan's graduation," Dominic said, coming to stand beside her. "Before Chen Industries became what it is, before everything got complicated. You look happy." "I was. We all were. Life was simpler then. Do you miss it?" "Sometimes. But I wouldn't change the path I took. It led me here, to this moment, to you." Maya turned to face him. The fire cast dancing shadows across his face, making him look softer, more vulnerable. "Dominic, I need you to understand something. I'm not good at this. at relationships, at trusting. I'm going to panic and overthink and probably try to run again. I know. I'm going to make this difficult. I know that too. So why do you want this? Want me? He stepped closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. Because difficult is real. Because I'd rather have complicated and true than easy and fake. Because when I look at you, I see someone worth the effort. I'm going to disappoint you. You're going to surprise me, in good ways and bad. That's what real relationships are. You sound very sure. I am sure. About you, about this, about giving it a real chance. Maya's eyes burned with unshed tears. I'm still scared. Then be scared. But be scared with me, not alone. He cupped her face in his hands. Maya, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be honest. To try. To let me try. That's all. Maya leaned into his touch, feeling the last of her resistance crumble. Okay. Okay? Okay. We'll try. Really try. Not just today. We'll see what this could be. The smile that broke across Dominic's face was pure joy. He kissed her, slow and deep and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, Maya was breathless. Stay tonight, he said. Here at the cabin. I'll take you home tomorrow, but stay tonight. I don't have anything with me. I have everything we need. Please, Maya, one more night. Let me show you what this could be. She should say no. Should insist on going home, on taking things slow, on being sensible. But sensible had gotten her nowhere. Careful had left her lonely. One more night, she agreed. They spent the evening curled up on the couch in front of the fire. Dominic pulled out a bottle of wine, good but not ostentatious, and they drank and talked and watched the flames dance. At some point, Maya ended up with her head in his lap while he played with her hair, and it felt so natural, so right, that she stopped questioning it. Tell me about your dreams, Dominic said softly. The ones you gave up. Why? Because I want to know. Because maybe they're not as lost as you think. Maya was quiet for a long moment, watching the fire. I wanted to paint portraits, real ones, of real people in real moments. I wanted to capture truth, not perfection. Wanted to show people the beauty in ordinary moments. Why did you stop? Because art is a luxury. Because bills need to be paid, and student loans don't care about artistic integrity. Because my father told me I was being childish, and I needed to grow up and get a real job. What if I told you I have gallery connections, people who would look at your work? I'd say you're trying to buy me again. I'm trying to help someone talented get the chance they deserve. There's a difference. Maya sat up, turning to face him. Dominic, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I need to make it on my own. I need to know that anything I achieve is because I earned it, not because I'm sleeping with the right person. I respect that. But can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why does accepting help mean you didn't earn it? Why does independence mean doing everything alone? The question made her pause. Because that's how it works. That's how you prove yourself. Says who? The person who convinced you that wanting more was asking too much? That hit hard. Maya looked away. My ex used to offer to help with my art, offered to introduce me to people, to buy me supplies, to pay for a studio. But it always came with conditions, with expectations, with the understanding that I owed him. I'm not him. I know. I do know that. But it's hard to separate the two sometimes. Dominic took her hand. Maya, I'm not offering to buy your success. I'm offering an introduction. What you do with it is entirely up to you. Your talent, your work, your choices. I'm just opening a door. You still have to walk through it. And if I fail, then you fail. But at least you tried. At least you didn't let fear stop you from attempting something you love. Maya felt tears threatening again. When did you become so wise? I'm not wise. I'm just a man who spent too many years letting work consume everything else, who missed opportunities, missed moments, missed life because I was too focused on success. I don't want that for you. Don't want you to wake up at 40 and realize you gave up your dreams for safety. Is that what you did? Give up dreams for safety? I gave up balance for success, gave up relationships for achievements, gave up living for working. And I was miserable, Maya. Successful, but miserable. Until last night, when a beautiful woman in a corner of a ballroom reminded me what it felt like to be alive. He pulled her closer. You make me want to be better. Want to live better. Want to actually enjoy the life I've built instead of just surviving it. That's a lot of pressure to put on one person. Then let me share it. Let me help carry yours while you help carry mine. That's what partnerships are, aren't they? Sharing the weight? Maya had never thought about it that way. She'd always seen relationships as one person inevitably carrying more than their share, one person being the burden. But maybe that was because she'd only known unequal relationships. I don't know how to do this, she admitted. How to be vulnerable, how to trust, how to not keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Then we'll learn together, because I don't know how to do this either. Don't know how to make someone a priority. Don't know how to not let work consume everything. Don't know how to open up. He pressed his forehead to hers. But I want to learn. With you. They stayed like that, foreheads touching, breathing together, as the fire crackled and the night deepened around them. Eventually, Dominic led her to the bedroom. It was simpler than his penthouse bedroom, more rustic, but somehow more intimate. They made love slowly, tenderly, with none of the desperate urgency of the night before. This was different. This was them learning each other, exploring, savoring. When Maya cried out his name, it wasn't just pleasure, it was release. Release of fear, of resistance, of the wall she'd built so carefully around her heart. And when Dominic held her after, stroking her hair and whispering promises against her skin, Maya let herself believe, let herself hope, let herself imagine a future where this was real, where this lasted, where she didn't have to be alone anymore. Stay with me, Dominic whispered as she drifted toward sleep. Not just tonight. Stay with me. For how long? As long as you'll have me. Maya smiled against his chest. That might be a while. Good. I'm counting on it. She fell asleep in his arms, feeling safer than she had in years. Feeling like maybe, just maybe, she'd finally found someone who could love her completely. Not despite her fears, or her flaws, or her broken pieces, but because of them. Because of all of her. Maya woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment she panicked, not remembering where she was. Then it all came flooding back. The cabin. Dominic. The choice to stay. She sat up, finding herself alone in bed, but hearing movement from the other room. Pulling on Dominic's shirt from yesterday, she padded barefoot into the main room. Dominic was in the kitchen area, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Mandarin. He was fully dressed in jeans and a sweater, hair slightly damp from a shower, looking effortlessly put together. He saw her and smiled, holding up one finger in a just a minute gesture. Maya poured herself coffee and moved to the windows, looking out at the morning view. It was stunning in daylight, the valley spread out below, mist rising from the lake. She could understand why he came here, why this was his sanctuary. Sorry about that, Dominic said, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. Business never sleeps, apparently. It's fine. I'm just enjoying the view. It's better with you in it. Smooth. but she leaned back against him. "I have a confession," Dominic said. "Already? We've only been together 2 days. I have to go back to the city today. Meeting I can't reschedule. But I was hoping you'd come with me. Spend the day at my office. Let me show you around." "Then dinner tonight?" Maya turned in his arms. "You want me to come to Chen Industries, where everyone works for you? Where everyone will see that you're important to me? Yes. Dominic, that's—" She struggled for words. "That's very public, very official. People will talk. Let them talk. Easy for you to say. You're the CEO. I'm nobody." His expression darkened. "Don't ever say that again. You're not nobody. You're brilliant and talented, and you matter. To me, you matter." "I didn't mean—" "I know what you meant. But I need you to hear me, Maya. I don't care about public perception. I don't care about gossip. I care about you, and I'm not hiding that. Not from anyone." It should have been terrifying. Instead, it was liberating. Someone who wasn't ashamed to be seen with her. Someone who wanted the world to know. "Okay," she said. "I'll come." "Yeah?" "Yeah. But I need to stop by my apartment first. Get actual clothes that fit. Deal. We'll leave in an hour." The drive back to the city felt different from the drive up. Less nervous, more comfortable. They talked easily, hands linked across the console, about everything and nothing. When they reached her building in Queens, Dominic insisted on coming up. "I want to see where you live, see your space." Maya's studio apartment was tiny, especially compared to his penthouse. But it was hers. Books everywhere, art supplies in the corner, a small gallery wall of prints and sketches. Dominic walked around slowly, taking it all in. He stopped in front of her gallery wall, studying each piece. "Did you do these?" He pointed to several sketches mixed in with the prints. Some of them, the watercolors, they're just practice pieces. They're beautiful. Maya, you're really talented. They're rough, unfinished. They're full of life." He turned to her. "I meant what I said. I know someone at a gallery in Chelsea. Just let me make an introduction. No promises, no guarantees. Just a conversation." Maya looked at her sketches, really looked at them. She'd been so dismissive of her own work for so long, convinced it wasn't good enough, that she'd stopped really seeing them. But through Dominic's eyes, she saw the potential. Saw what they could be with more time, more confidence, more belief. "Okay," she said quietly. "Just an introduction." Dominic kissed her, soft and sweet. "That's all. The rest is up to you." Maya changed into proper clothes, a black dress and blazer that were her version of professional, applied makeup, did her hair. When she emerged, Dominic was still studying her apartment, looking at her books, her collection of vintage cameras, her life. "Ready?" she asked. "Ready. But I have one request." "What's that?" "Can I take one of these?" He pointed to a small watercolor, a street scene she'd done last spring. "Why?" "Because I want your art in my office. Want to look at it and think of you." Maya felt her eyes prickle. "You can have it. Thank you." He took it carefully, like it was precious, like it mattered. Chen Industries occupied an entire skyscraper in Midtown. Maya had seen it from the outside, of course, but walking in through the marble lobby with Dominic was different. People stared. Employees, visitors, everyone. But Dominic just kept his hand on the small of her back, guiding her to the private elevator. His office was on the top floor, naturally. All glass and steel and stunning views of the city. There was a sitting area, a conference table, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, everything sleek and modern and expensive. Dominic immediately went to his desk, found a small easel, and set up Maya's watercolor where he could see it from his chair. "Perfect," he said. "Now, every time I'm stuck in a boring meeting, I can look at that and remember, There's more to life than quarterly reports. Maya wandered to the windows, looking out over the city. From up here, the world looked small, manageable. She could understand the appeal of this perspective, the power of it. "What do you think?" Dominic asked, coming to stand beside her. "It's intimidating. All of this. The power you have. It's just a business, just work. It's an empire. There's a difference." He was quiet for a moment. "Does it bother you? The money? The success? All of it?" Maya considered the question honestly. "No. It bothers me that I don't fit here. That I don't understand this world." "You don't need to understand it. You just need to understand me." "And you think I do?" "More than anyone else ever has." There was a knock on the door. A woman in her 50s entered, perfectly professional, carrying a tablet. "Mr. Chen, your 10 o'clock is here." "Thank you, Diana. Tell them I'll be ready in 5 minutes." Diana's eyes flickered to Maya with barely concealed curiosity, but she nodded and left. "That was my executive assistant," Dominic explained. "She's been with me since I started the company. She's going to be very curious about you." "Great. I love being gossip fodder." "She's not going to gossip. She's going to interrogate you at some point to make sure you're worthy of my time." "Even better." Dominic laughed. "You'll like her. She's tough but fair. And she doesn't suffer fools, which is probably why we work well together." "I have to sit through your meeting?" "No. I'm going to set you up in the design department. Let you look around. Meet people. If you're interested." Maya's stomach flipped with nervousness. "You really don't do anything halfway, do you?" "Not when it matters. Come on." He led her down several floors to the design department. It was different from the executive floor, more creative, more relaxed. People at standing desks with multiple monitors, mood boards on walls, the hum of creative energy. Dominic introduced her to the department head, a woman named Sarah who was probably in her 40s, with purple-streaked hair and multiple tattoos. "Sarah, this is Maya Foster. She's a designer and artist. I thought she might be interested in seeing how we operate." Sarah's eyes lit up. "Always happy to show off our work. What's your specialty?" "Graphic design, mostly. But my background is in fine art." "Excellent. We actually need someone with traditional art skills for a project we're pitching. Want to see?" Maya glanced at Dominic, who smiled. "I'll come find you after my meeting. Make yourself at home." He kissed her cheek, casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world, in front of everyone. Then he was gone, and Maya was alone with Sarah's knowing smile. "So," Sarah said, "Dominic Chen's girlfriend gets the tour. This is new." "I'm not. We're not. It's complicated." "Honey, with men like Dominic, it's always complicated. Come on. Let me show you what we're working on." The next 2 hours were eye-opening. Sarah walked Maya through current projects, explained their process, showed her the resources available. It was impressive, professional, everything Maya had dreamed of when she'd gone into design. "You're really good," Sarah said, as Maya sketched out some ideas for the project they'd discussed. "These concepts are fresh, unique." "Thank you. I'm serious. We could use someone with your perspective. Have you thought about freelancing? We bring in contractors all the time for specific projects." Maya's heart jumped. "Really?" "Really. If you're interested, send me your portfolio. I can't promise anything, but I can at least get you in front of the right people." "That would be amazing." Sarah studied her for a moment. "Can I give you some advice? Professional woman to professional woman? Please, don't let them diminish what you bring to the table because of who you're dating. You're talented. You deserve to be here on your own merit. Make sure everyone knows that, especially yourself." The words hit home. "Thank you. I needed to hear that. I figured. We women have to look out for each other." Sarah smiled. "Besides, Anyone who makes Dominic Chen smile like he did when he looked at you is okay in my book. I've worked for him for 7 years, never seen him bring someone to the office. You must be special. Or he's lost his mind. Maybe both. When Dominic returned, he found Maya deep in conversation with Sarah about color theory and composition. He stood in the doorway for a moment, just watching, and Maya caught sight of him. The look on his face made her breath catch. Pride, affection, something deeper that she wasn't ready to name. "Ready for lunch?" he asked. Maya said goodbye to Sarah, who gave her a meaningful look and mouthed, "Send the portfolio." Then she was in the elevator with Dominic, riding up to his floor. "How was your meeting?" Maya asked. "Fine. Boring. How was design?" "Amazing. Sarah's incredible. And Maya hesitated. "She said I should send her my portfolio, that they hire freelancers." Dominic smiled. "She's tough. If she said that, she meant it. You impressed her." "You didn't ask her to say that." "I didn't ask her anything. I introduced you and left. Whatever she offered is based entirely on your work." Maya felt something loosen in her chest. "Okay. Good. You sound surprised." "I guess I am. I've been so used to people helping me out of pity or obligation. This feels different. This is respect. This is recognition of talent. Get used to it." They had lunch in his office. Take-out sushi that Dominic's assistant ordered. Simple, easy, delicious. They talked about the morning, about Sarah's projects, about Maya's ideas. Dominic listened intently, asking questions, offering suggestions, treating her thoughts like they mattered. It was intoxicating. "I have another meeting at 2, Dominic said, checking his watch. "But I'll be done by 5. There's a gallery opening tonight. One of my clients. Want to come?" "A gallery opening?" "Art. Your thing? Plus, the curator is the person I mentioned, the one with Chelsea gallery connections. Perfect time for an introduction." Maya's stomach churned with nerves and excitement. "That's a lot. Too much?" "No, just fast. Everything with you is fast." "Is that bad?" She thought about it. "I don't know yet. Ask me in a month." "I will." "So, is that a yes to tonight?" "Yes. But I need to go home and change. I don't have anything appropriate here." "My driver can take you. He'll wait and bring you back." "Dominic, I can take the subway." "I know you can. But let me do this. Let me take care of the logistics so you can focus on preparing to wow a gallery curator." When he put it that way, it was hard to argue. "Okay, thank you." The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. Maya went home, agonized over what to wear, finally settled on a simple black dress that was elegant without being flashy. She pulled her hair up, did her makeup carefully, tried to calm her racing heart. This was happening. She was going to a gallery opening with Dominic Chen, was going to meet a curator who could change her career, was going to step into a world she'd only dreamed about. The driver picked her, up at 6. By 6:30, she was walking into a Chelsea gallery on Dominic's arm, feeling like she'd stepped into someone else's life. The space was beautiful. White walls, with dramatic lighting, sculptures, and paintings arranged with precision. People in expensive clothes holding wine glasses, speaking in low, cultured voices. Dominic introduced her to people, casual and confident, his hand never leaving the small of her back. Art collectors, other CEOs, a famous actress Maya recognized from movies. Everyone was polite, interested, but Maya could see the calculation in their eyes. Who was she? Where did she come from? How did she fit into Dominic Chen's world? Then Dominic guided her toward a woman in her 60s, elegant and sharp-eyed. "Maya, this is Victoria Hartley. She curates contemporary art for the Hartley Gallery. Victoria, Maya Foster, an incredibly talented artist." Victoria's handshake was firm. Dominic speaks very highly of you. He's been texting me all day about your work. Has he? Maya shot Dominic a look. I have, Dominic confirmed, unrepentant. Victoria, you should see her watercolors. They're stunning. I'd love to. Do you have a portfolio? Maya's mouth went dry. Not with me. I could send you something. Please do. I'm always looking for fresh voices. Dominic's taste is usually excellent, so I'm inclined to trust his judgment. They talked for a few minutes about art, about Maya's influences and style. Victoria was sharp but kind, asking intelligent questions that showed genuine interest. When she moved on to other guests, Maya turned to Dominic. You texted her about me all day? I told her I'd found someone special, that she needed to see your work. Was that wrong? No, it's just, you really believe in me, don't you? Completely. The question is, do you believe in yourself? Maya thought about her sketches gathering dust in her apartment, about the dreams she'd set aside, about the fear that had kept her playing small for so long. I'm starting to, she admitted. The evening continued, a whirlwind of introductions and conversations, but Maya found herself relaxing, finding her footing. These were just people who loved art. She could talk about art. She belonged here as much as anyone. As the crowd thinned, Dominic pulled her aside. You were amazing tonight. I was terrified. You didn't show it. You were confident, articulate, impressive. I had you next to me. No, you did that on your own. I was just the arm candy. Maya laughed. You're many things, Dominic Chen, but arm candy isn't one of them. No? What am I then? She looked at him, really looked. At this man who'd entered her life like a storm, who'd refused to let her run, who believed in her when she didn't believe in herself, who made her want to be braver, bolder, better. You're the person who makes me want to try, she said softly, who makes me think maybe I'm worth more than I thought. Maybe I can have more than I thought. You are worth everything, and you can have whatever you want. You just have to reach for it. I'm reaching. She took his hand. I'm scared, but I'm reaching. Dominic pulled her close, right there in the gallery with people still around, and kissed her. Slow and deep and full of promise. That's all I ask. Keep reaching. I'll catch you if you fall. They left soon after, Dominic's driver taking them back to his penthouse. In the elevator, Maya leaned against him, exhausted but exhilarated. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for coming, for trying, for trusting me. I'm still working on the trusting part. I know, I'll wait. They made love that night with a new tenderness, a new understanding. This wasn't just physical anymore. This was building something, creating something, together. And when Maya woke the next morning to find Dominic already awake, watching her with that soft expression, she didn't panic, didn't reach for her clothes and plan her escape. Instead, she smiled and said, "Good morning." "Good morning," he replied. "Sleep well?" "Better than I have in years." "I'm glad." "Coffee?" "Please." They had breakfast together, easy and domestic. Dominic had a conference call at 9, and Maya needed to finalize her portfolio for Victoria. Real life was creeping back in, but somehow didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a beginning. "I should probably go home," Maya said as they finished eating. "Get some actual work done. Or you could stay. Work from here. I have a spare office." "Dominic, I can't just move in." "I'm not asking you to move in. I'm asking you to spend the day. Maybe spend tonight. Maybe see where this goes without putting timelines on it." Maya bit her lip. "You make it sound so simple." "Maybe it is. Maybe we're overcomplicating things. What if I get comfortable? What if I start depending on this, on you, and then it ends?" Dominic set down his coffee cup and took both her hands. "Maya, I can't promise you forever. No one can. But I can promise you today. I can promise you honesty and respect and effort. I can promise that I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me to. Is that enough? Maya thought about her life before Dominic. The loneliness, the fear, the conviction that she was meant to be alone because she was too much, not enough, wrong somehow. And then she thought about the past 3 days, the way he looked at her, the way he believed in her, the way he made her believe in herself. Yes, she said, it's enough. Over the following weeks, they found their rhythm. Maya sent her portfolio to Victoria and to Sarah. Both responded enthusiastically. Victoria wanted to include 3 pieces in an upcoming group show. Sarah offered Maya a freelance contract for 2 projects. Maya's careful, controlled life started expanding in ways she'd never imagined. She started painting again, really painting, the way she'd always dreamed. She set up an easel in Dominic's spare office, and sometimes he'd sit and watch her work, fascinated by the process. They learned each other's rhythms, quirks, needs. Maya learned that Dominic was grumpy before his first coffee, but sweet after. That he had nightmares sometimes about failing, about losing everything he'd built. That he loved old kung fu movies and terrible puns and the way Maya hummed while she painted. Dominic learned that Maya needed quiet mornings to think, that she was fiercely independent about her work, but secretly loved when he took care of small things for her, that she cried at commercials, but stayed stone-faced through horror movies, that when she was stressed, she reorganized things compulsively. They fought sometimes, about Maya's reluctance to let Dominic help even with simple things, about Dominic's tendency to work too late and cancel plans, about the pressure of being in a relationship where the world watched and judged. But they always came back to each other, always talked it through, always chose each other. 3 months after that first night, Dominic had to go to Tokyo for business. He asked Maya to come with him. She said yes. 6 months in, Maya's paintings were featured in a small show at Victoria's gallery. Every single piece sold. Dominic bought none of them, respecting Maya's need to succeed on her own merits. But he attended the opening with pride, radiating from every pore, telling anyone who would listen that his girlfriend was brilliant. 9 months in, Maya finally admitted she loved him. They were at the cabin, watching the snow fall, and it just slipped out. Dominic said it back immediately, like he'd been waiting for permission. 1 year in, Dominic asked Maya to move in officially, not because it was expected, but because he couldn't imagine waking up without her anymore. Maya said yes, but kept her studio in Queens as her art space, a room of her own. It was during a quiet Sunday morning, 18 months after that charity gala, that Maya finally understood what they'd built. She was painting in the penthouse while Dominic read beside her. No conversation, just comfortable silence. The kind of silence you can only share with someone who truly knows you. "I love you," she said, not looking up from her canvas. "I know," Dominic replied, not looking up from his book. "I'm happy." "Good. I didn't think I could be. This happy, I mean. With someone." That made him look up. "Neither did I." Maya set down her brush and turned to him. "I'm glad I didn't make it out the door that morning." Dominic smiled, the kind of smile that still made her heart skip. "I'm glad I stopped you. Pretty sure I stopped myself. Maybe. But I helped. You did more than help. You made me believe I was worth fighting for, worth staying for. You are. You always were. You just needed to see it." Maya thought about the woman she'd been, terrified, and running, convinced she was too much and not enough all at once. And then she thought about the woman she was now, confident in her work, secure in love, still scared sometimes, but brave enough to try anyway. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" for not letting me run, for seeing me, for loving me even when I didn't make it easy. Dominic stood and crossed to her, pulling her close. Loving you is the easiest thing I've ever done. Everything else, the work, the success, the empire building, that's hard. You're the part that makes sense. They stood there, holding each other in the morning light, and Maya realized something profound. She'd spent so long believing she needed to be smaller, quieter, less, to be loved. But Dominic had taught her the opposite. She could be exactly who she was, all of her messy, complicated, intense self, and be cherished for it. Not despite who she was, but because of it. And maybe that was the real magic. Not finding someone who completed you, but finding someone who celebrated you. Someone who made you want to be braver. Someone who caught you when you fell, but also pushed you to fly. Maya had tried to sneak out after one night, but Dominic had blocked the door and said they weren't done. And thank God he had. Because this, whatever this was, it was just beginning. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Comment where you're watching from, and if you felt this was truly worth it, consider becoming a member for early access to upcoming stories. Your support means the world and helps us continue creating stories that remind us all that we're not too much. We just haven't found someone big enough to love us completely.